Bring Osama bin Laden to the gates of hell.
You fucking mark!
We are in control now.
سبحان فالق الإصباح.
Yes. Bring me back in shackles. Hang me long out in the sun. Exonerate me. Forget about me. Just wait and you'll see. Wait and you'll see. Fully. Completely. Here on the Monday Locker Room. ChannelAttitude.com. Hell-bent on revenge. On all the conspirators against me. Rise and praise and prepare for war. YOLO!
I come July on the fire.
Oh yes. YOLO, infidels. It's Monday, and it's been quite a weekend here at HMG. With possibly the biggest conspiracy in 22 years to hit the world. And it was all in the making. And we're going to break down and point some fingers today. And then we're going to break it all down as more and more evidence comes rolling in. So wherever you're subscribing, channelattitude.com, patreon.com/Hameen Media Group. You're goddamn right, group. We're going to break it all down here today. We'll see if R to the B to the V makes it. And if he doesn't, you can add his list to the conspirers as well, because he, again, was with someone who's got it out for me, who's had it out for me for many years. And that's those goddamn cheerleaders, the Spirit Squad as well. So everybody's under the microscope here today after, I don't even want to call it a loss in Kabul skill to that moron Garrett Holiday. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna name some names here today, but hopefully you guys didn't have everybody working against you this weekend, and you had a great weekend all the way around. There was no premium live events, so maybe you actually got to live your life and enjoy a little bit or melt in the summer sun. But y'all, here we are, Bin Hameen YouTube channel live, twitch.tv/Hameen Media, and as always, exclusively channelattitude.com, where the real HMG unit soldiers hang out, man. So we're going to be doing it today. We'll see if we get the run in here. I'll give him another 5 minutes and then even send the link to my man, the vet, in case he can do the run in to save. But RVB told me yesterday he'd be here. So like I said, another conspiracy to try and make me look like a fool. But I won't be made to look the fool, because I am the master and ruler of, Sid. Because I am Ayatollah Telayi bin Hameen, infidels. Benny two belts now. And we'll see as I move along back to the sap-sucking moron Wildfire, Ontario, Canada next weekend on Sunday to face the former autism champion, Rob the Rage. Big muscle dummy in himself. I'm sure you've seen him on a lot of Dark Side of the Rings playing Hogan or playing Legion of Doom. So that's the test they've put ahead of me as well. And I wouldn't doubt that Chris LaPlante, that moron sap-sucking promoter, is also in touch with the idiot from New York, Mike King, and his ball-shaving idiot twin moron sons, that they're all in on it together, that there's a greater global international conspiracy against HMG right now, and I wouldn't doubt Russo Brand. So we're going to uncover it all. But y'all, I see everybody's in the house filling up the chat room. Veteran wrestlers, hardcore HMG unit soldiers, all in the house. Good to see you this morning. I see the vets in there as well. I might as well just send the link over to him, because RBB hasn't even seen what I sent. So he was putting on a show. Get under mine by sending me him with Mondo, and Mondo thinks he's funny because he's got a beard and a bald head now, so that's his little rib on me to like, oh, I'll be the Sheik. I'm Sheik. No, you're not. No, you're not, cheerleader. You're not me, and you could never be me, even though don't you want to be me? But you're not me. So y'all, man, it's been a frustrating weekend to say the least. I don't mind if I was outclassed in one way or another, but to have to be in the middle of the conspiracy, to have it revolve around you, it's too much. And that I'm gonna crack this case. And there's no nanothermite proof. Oh boy, look out for that one. That's what I'm saying. That's the call from Muhammad. He knows what's going down here at HMG. So let's just get to a little piece of proof right here. I mean, I'm not to say I'm not the one to point fingers and say, hey, I won't do what it takes. I'll do whatever it takes to win, right? And that's fine because that's what I do. But for all those else involved, all I wanted was a little kiss and boom. Giant Boston cream donut to the face, instant blindness. From who's that? Oh yeah, Kayla Sparks, the blocking temptress of them all. Bing, right there in the face. And then, but let's not forget who's this over here. Oh, is that Don Stevens? No, that's referee Sideburns. Look at him reacting like he's like, oh, look how surprised I am that I'm not into it. Then look at Garrett Holiday in position, moves out of the way, knows it's coming, knows I'm going to fall. They're all in on it. Look at the crowd cheering. They're all in on it. They're all in on it. And I'm going to break it all down on Patreon. I've got actual evidence, physical evidence that can be Exhibit A, just like we saw on SmackDown, but I'll actually have an Exhibit B, unlike SmackDown. And you infidels are going to see on Patreon. But this will not stand. And she came in, her breasts were all plumped up. She had them out there to distract me as well. She knew exactly what she was doing the entire time, and it doesn't matter if it's Mike King, the idiot Shave My Balls twins, that moron. Oh, let's not forget about where do cream pie donuts come from? Where do they come from? Look at that freeze frame right there. Where do they come from? They come from Dippin' Donuts. So that's where they come from. Especially when you're getting a 12 by 12 cream pie donut to the face. Who else is capable of supplying that type of ammunition? There's only one man. There's only one man. And that's Dimitri Zordos of Dippin' Donuts. So this is a multi-layer, and where's Blaze Haram? Not trying to say I doubt you, Blaze, but plenty of Al-Qaeda brothers have been paid off to turn against and take that CIA money. And also there was a priest at ringside looking for children to groom as well. I had to have him thrown right out of there as well. We're going to break all that down on Patreon. But what does it take to beat Bin Hameen? It takes at least 7 to 12 people conspiring to beat Bin Hameen. And even then, sometimes they can't pull it off. But every one of these people will feel the revenge of Ayatollah Telayi, Bin Hameen. This will not sit. There will be suspensions. There may be executions. There may be assassinations. And I'm telling you right now, don't ever fluff your breasts up again to try and distract me, because I won't fall for it twice. I won't. I'm not going to have it. I won't stand for it. And there's only one man I can really trust today who was going to be there. There was only one man that I was like, if he was there, none of this would have happened, because he would have smartened me up. And that's the Extreme Soldier himself. Straight from the jungle, the vet is here. Vet!
Looks like they got you in a goddamn turkey shoot.
They got me in a goddamn turkey shoot. Back into the left.
Back into the left, baby. Back into the left. My goodness. Yeah, you're right. This never would have gone down on my watch. Unfortunately, I had to maintain the West Coast installation, the compound, and I was unable to be there.
Who knows what happened if you weren't there? They might have taken over that side too.
That's true. That's true. They've got people everywhere. It's a goddamn conspiracy. You know, we got to hook up with Bad Luck Fale. I think he knows a thing or two about conspiracy.
I think so too. And then also for RBV to be like, Sheik, I'll be there. I can't wait to hang in with your buddy. And hey, it's because of Hameen Media Group that we get all of these great, opportunities together to form a family and form a union together. And then, boom, there it is. Not here. And who's he posing with? One of my greatest enemies of all time. Obviously, I've beaten them because it's easy for me to beat the shit out of cheerleaders. Mocking me.
Oh, my
mocking me,
goodness.
Mike Mondo, with a beard and bald head, trying to be mini chic, and RBV just falling right in line with that. This goes statewide, and like I said, it may be international with these morons in Canada. This could have been plotted and planned for months against me, and we need to follow the money trail. And I looked in my envelope, and it was exactly the same, so there was no extra money in there to follow. So.
I hope that RBV's celebration drink of choice is a sparkling cider for his sake.
Yeah, that son of a bitch with some anthrax mixed in at this point. I can't trust him. I can't trust anyone, Vet. And that's no slight on you. I just
well, you know,
I
always advise people. Can you trust me? Yes. Should you trust me? No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And referee Sideburns, he's definitely on the target list because I just know that something was afoot there for sure, especially when he's doing the Don Stevens sell. Maybe Don Stevens is in on it, Vet. Maybe this goes even.
We can't rule anyone out. We can't rule anyone out. It's gonna make an awkward Raw viewing party tonight.
It's gonna
I think for you and Sideburns.
Yeah. Just shit. I'm not even gonna look at the TV. I'm just gonna stare directly at him for 3 hours.
That's still going to be a better show, but you know, no doubt.
Yep, absolutely, man. So I mean, they're all proud about it. That's the worst thing. They're not even trying to cover it up.
Disgusting.
You know, they're not even trying to cover it up. So, I'll even show one more piece. Yeah, if you want to see some damning evidence, just to show you how they really feel about it, they don't have any remorse. They don't have any remorse whatsoever. So here we are, about to take the skull crushing finale, whatever the frig it is there, and look who's here. Look, she's overjoyed of herself.
Oh yeah,
she's overjoyed. She can't get enough. I told you they were pushed up. Look at them.
Yeah,
they're pushed right up. And then afterwards, look at me with Boston cream pie blindness, which I think I've actually lost permanent vision in one of my eyes, Vet, as well. And look at her.
Oh, no.
She couldn't be happier about it. Even easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. That's what she's trying to do right there. Even a wind in her hair inside of a sauna. And there's me. You know, that's
it's outrageous. This is
not
outrageous.
Happy. I'm not happy at all. So you infidels know you're marked for death. I hope you know that, morons. That's just how it had to shake out. You took your shot, you hit your shot, and now prepare for the repercussions. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, morons. And maybe your reactor might just melt down. So, because I've had a meltdown here today. I didn't want to see any wives yesterday. I was locked away in the bunker, punching the wall all day long, bloody knuckles. Just letting the dogs of war bite me so I could feel more pain. That's where I'm at right now, Vet. And tonight I'm going to increase the level of pain with 3 hours of Monday Night Raw.
Well, that's the only way we can get stronger, is to endure these hardships and iron sharpening iron, or in this case, a dull spoon sharpening iron.
Yes.
Sounds like.
I'll tell you what, too, another conspiracy, even though it really worked in my favor, I think, a little bit for a while, because it was just like home in Riyadh. But at the Kabul Skill Fairgrounds, in this barn that they redid, they did all tongue and groove pine down the whole side, 100 yards of it in this barn, all the way around. It was pretty much wrestling inside of a sauna. Exactly. If you're like, and everybody get in this sauna and wrestle. So I had the advantage when it comes to sweating. I sweat through 4 head gimmicks and 2 T-shirts that night completely. 4 segments on one show. How about that? No extra payday there either. That shorting money and 4 segments on one show, Vet? Come on.
Sounds familiar.
I'm not going to stand for this disrespect anyway. Yes. Yes, they're all jealous. They're all jealous of me. They're all jealous against my beard. It was a coup d'etat, absolutely, Frank. And I see the HMG. Apparently, the HMG jury is saying they're all on my side, but could they be in on it too? And they're just doing
right.
It to save
when
face?
Push comes to shove in a tribunal situation, are they gonna back up their words here in the comments? I don't know.
Yeah. You're goddamn right. I ordered the code red. That's what I say.
Do you think we can get do we think we can get a review of that barn on Stevie Richards' YouTube channel? See how that works as a sauna.
He would love it in there. He would love it in there, to be honest with you. I actually I'm telling on his latest Instagram I don't know if it was story or post, because he's over there doing, it's assisted. He'll say it was assisted with resistance bands, and he's doing pull-ups, and then he goes, I probably shouldn't do that one on a unfused spine. Yeah, stop doing those. Stop it.
Yeah.
And that might be him just posting that. He might be in on it knowing that they've already done all this physical stuff to me, and now he's doing the psyop mental game to try and break me as well.
Yes, is this the distraction? Like Stevie's like, okay, I'll post this, and then Ben will get worried. He won't see the pie coming. Mm-hmm. Is this all, the more you talk about it, the more I'm convinced.
If it all wasn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, if it wasn't that, if it wasn't all the players playing their little part, maybe not. But already it's starting to take shape of who had what little, piece of the pie before I got hit in the face with the big Boston cream donut. I had donut in my nose for 2 days. I had donut in my nose.
Did you have to get it surgically removed?
No, but I just kept blowing my nose and chocolate and cream kept coming out.
Oh. Did you try inhaling? Maybe at least reap some of the benefits of the delicious assault.
It was deliciously blinding. I gotta admit that, but if you ever get hit in the face with a giant Boston cream pie donut, there is no vision after that. You're just blinded. And I need to go to the Saudi optometrist to get my vision checked now, because I think I could easily get workman's compensation lawsuit going against Immortal Championship Wrestling. Also, Immortal Championship Wrestling booking a brand new arena, the Nexus Arena in Utica, for August 12th, bringing in Enzo Amore, bringing in Cheeseburger, bringing in Teddy Long, bringing in Fandango. Of course, and these guys might be wanting on it, because who's the top guy at Immortal? Bin Hameen. And can any of those guys share spotlight? No, they can't.
No,
so again, wanting to push me right out at the biggest building, and it's going to be an pay-per-view. So they think that's going to there might not. Yes, that might be the best place for me to retaliate and strike back, Vet, because I think if anybody's in on it, Fandango probably is. As he wanted his title back as well. And I know he didn't want to face me. Bill Collier, Big Bill Collier, canceled because he didn't want to face me. Oh, I'm big like Sid. No, but guess what? That doesn't mean anything to me. Taking down big buildings is exactly what I do best. And he knew that. So he chicken shitted out. Why isn't Bill Collier signed? Because he's too chicken shit to face Ben Hameen. Why else? I have to face Garrett Holiday because Rich Holiday claims that he had cancer. Former
a likely story.
And now he's back, and he did 6 matches in 4 days that he's bragging about. So I have to face.
Who is he, Roman Reigns?
Right, exactly. Like, we've seen that story before. Rich Holiday, another Immortal champion, too scared to face Ben Hameen. GGP, I expected, just because I would expect him to do it because I know what he can do, has the King's Ransom briefcase and didn't run in. I was expecting him to try and cash in on me, but he didn't. So GGP is about the only one in this whole thing who's free and clear of everything. Then, who else was on that list? I'm sure I'll probably try and get a rematch at the next show. And guess what I'll end up having to do?
Yeah.
It's going to be a tag team match, playa.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yep.
You better have somebody you can trust. Was with Teddy Long around, yeah.
Yep, exactly. And he probably saw me beat Tracy Smothers in a dance-off, and he's mad about that, too, because he wants to outdance me, and he can't outdance me. So, right. And then Fandango, probably the same thing as well. It just doesn't stop. And who's been involved in on this? And I'm going to follow the money trail. And if there's money missing from the pre-sale tickets that went to Ukraine, somebody's going to answer for it. So in Utica, August 12th, prepare for him. Infidels, I'm going to have so much for you. I can't wait for you to start your cars. I can't wait for you to look in your bag after your match. Go, what's that smell? Oh, it's coming for all of you morons. Yes. Might poison the water at Dippin' Donuts. We'll see. Yeah, it's endless now. I mean, they opened Pandora's box. It's not going to be able to be closed. So 2 belts remain. And then there were 2. I'm not happy, Vet.
Well, if indeed this does become a tag team match, then at least those belts would probably be safe, right? Those are singles championships, so at least in that sense, like if they're going to,
I wouldn't say that, because also in that, Adam Stone, owner of 16 Stone Brewery, sponsor and moron who thinks he can hang with the big dogs with his tag team partner, was also out there celebrating, and earlier in the night faced Blaze Haram. So they're in on it too when it comes to the tag team stuff. So don't think that the tag team belts are protected from the conspiracy against them. I think they're going to try and take on everything and anything from them. And that could be, how about these guys? If the Outrunners, I don't trust them at all. Oh. Anybody who rides one of those stand-up jet skis, I don't trust them. And then also you've got Wrecking Ball Legursky and Brad J from NWA. The American Fixers also have their eye on the prize. So it's from all angles. I'm not even sleeping with one eye open. I'm not sleeping. That's just how it is. We're going to take all the methamphetamines we can and stay awake for as many days as possible.
Yeah. Well, if you were sleeping with one eye open, that would be because of the donut, right? So
possibly, yeah. I probably still got something in there, some sugar rot inside my. Can you get sugar rot in your ocular cavity?
I think anything can rot if it's left long enough.
Okay. Well, then that's what I'm going to claim on the workman's comp form. That I'm sorry, I'm tuned up this morning. I haven't slept in 2 days.
I'm with it. I like this. Yeah, I'm just glad I can to help out wherever I can. I'm not involved in the conspiracy. I'm far too isolated and secretive for anybody to even get in touch with me to try to turn me against you. They wouldn't know where to start looking. So, in that sense, you can count on me, brother.
I would look and see where they're trying to isolate you. That, you know what I mean? Some things might be in your purview that way. Be like, this makes a little more sense of why this happened.
Yeah, so there's no chance. It goes beyond trying to triangulate my location. They would have to pentagulate and dodecahedrolate, and they'll just never be able to do it.
Oh. And now I have to talk about SmackDown with Stevie, which also had me super pissed off on Friday with the tribal whatever it was supposed to be.
Oh, I knew that was going to get you hot because you've been talking about ideas about this for so long, and we got 0% of anything even resembling. It's like, well, it's almost as if the WWE concentrates more on coming up with a cute little catchphrase or slogan for their episodes and then nothing on the episode. It's almost like that. You can call something like a snazzy name, like a tribal trial or whatever stupid shit that they come up with, but it seems like that's as far as the creativity goes, is that one little slogan.
And it's not like it's selling any t-shirts. I survived the trial of Roman Reigns. Like, maybe I would buy that one. With the
give it a week. Give it a week, and we check, and then check www.shop.com and see, and then check in 6 months when they're being clearanced out.
Right, and that's usually when I do check for $4.99. Cough button. Yeah, man, and I'll break all that down on Russo brand side with Big Stevie Cool, but. Yeah, I knew you would put that over too, man, because I just sat there for 40 minutes in that opening going, what not just a waste of fucking time, but what a missed opportunity to do. We make movies, pal. And what got done in 40 minutes, I could have done in 3 5-minute segments and made it incredibly captivating and gone throughout the show where you wouldn't have missed the chapters 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
You know, so
it was just,
here's 40 minutes of just complete trash, and now the rest of the show, and you're just like, oh, okay.
This could be the biggest blunder or waste of time or shittiest segment or whatever you want to call it that this whole thing has had since 3 years ago.
I would agree with that
by far. Yeah,
that everything should be keep building up that mountain, and this was this was nothing, bro. This could have been on any indie show.
And no shade to the guys. It was whoever decided to direct them in this manner to do this. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. If you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't see it, you'll hear Ben and Stevie talk about it in detail, which I'm sure they will. But there's so many misses on this. I'm just never a fan of like when they try to get you. I'm just never a fan of when you just go way out of your way to do stuff you don't need to do. You know what I mean? You don't need to cry. You don't need to take a knee, whatever. It's just like all that stuff is not necessary if that's where you're going with it. If where you're going with it is just hitting the balls, like just get to that. You know, like we don't have to put us through all this shit that nobody in their right mind would ever do in front of a crowd of people. Even if it was just in an isolated room, they would never go through all that pretending to cry and shit. It's
the worst, not only was that 40 minutes just awful of what it could have been, that's really the missed opportunity. I mean, usually I say they get 10% value. That wasn't even 2% value on that. And then the killer was, and we had some hardcore HMG, minds in the watch along of the SmackDown Live self-help group on Friday at twitch.tv/Hami Media, and the Usos leave in an ambulance and one's effed up, and then you're like, all right, there's time left. He's going to come in Austin finish in the ambulance, right? Instead, Michael Cole goes, Jey Uso's back in the arena. Oh, okay. Instead of wait until Tribal Chief and Solo and Heyman get in the SUV and have the fucking ambulance come in and ram it into the fucking side in a show don't tell big action car crash at the end. Instead, Michael Cole just lets us know he's back from the hospital. Oh, fucking great, everybody. Absolute trash on that show this week, dude.
They were only in Madison Square Garden, so who cares?
Yeah, who gives a fuck? It wasn't that important.
Yeah, fuck 'em.
Oh man. So but like I said, we'll get into detail with that with Big Stevie Cooler. Maybe if I don't feel that he's cleared and he is part of the PSYOP, I'll just stare at him for the entire show and let him do it.
Fair enough.
And Stevie also sent me fit resistance bands, smart bands that hook into your phone app, and it's like a whole records everything workout. Had a great workout with them on Tuesday last week. The next 3 days, my entire left arm from right here all the way up to the bottom of my bicep, I could not undo my arm past that. I kept having to bend my arm to do it. So in the guise of a great workout was a tendon tear and injury, and was that part of their plan to slow me down too, and Stevie was in on it.
He gave you the covert tendonitis workout instead of the actual muscles, which you're supposed to be working out.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Only an expert like Stevie Richards could pull something like that off.
That's exactly what I'm thinking too. He's gonna know where it looks like it is, but it's not. Keeps you guessing. They'll let him perform enough so we can't take him off the show. We know he's stubborn and he'll power through it and want to perform, and then that's when we strike. So he's far from being cleared on this whole thing. And who else would know better than a conspiracy horseman on how to get to me?
That's true.
And Media M5 is correct here in the chat. He also fucked Raven over, when he turned on Raven. So that's it. Scott Woodford actually taking some of the blame here. I don't know. That seems like a Trojan horse to try and misdirect me as well to look over.
But Scott Woodford, we have photographic evidence of Scott Woodford with none other than Moose, which we all know is
which Moose absolutely is one of the original conspirators, because I paid him off to take out everybody, and then he turned on me after taking my money and speared me as well. That's a great piece of evidence that we're going to need that. So Scott Woodford, definitely.
Take him at his word. Take him at his word when he says it was his fault.
Sure.
It's that, hiding in plain sight. I think
Yep. And I like that too. Psyop Richards we got in there, and it's just too much. I'm gonna have to get the big board and the yarn out and everything and how it all goes. We got a lot.
Or you could get it, or you could get the vibe board, which apparently is very good for those types of things, breaking things down and
maybe
drawing
I'll make
on
Stevie
it. And...
break down his own conspiracy and expose himself. Maybe that's the way we'll need to go. So
I like it. A lot to think about.
Well, my stomach hurts thinking about it already, man. And who I'm going to destroy first. That referee Sideburns is definitely up there. Something bad's coming for him in the next 24 hours. Big time. But y'all infidels, we're back to read the sheets and break it down. I do want to take a moment, though. He had put this out there, and I'm sure, conspiracy or not a conspiracy, not to kick off on more sour notes here, but this is the real life. Mondo did go out to Ohio to wrestle young, great prodigy Carson Drake, RBV's, one of RBV's favorite talents that he's worked with out there, and has all the charisma, all the heel stuff, good looking MJF blonde, type worker. But his mom passed away tragically in a car accident like a couple days before, I think, like in the middle or early part of last week too, man. And I mean, that's how fast life can be gone, and just send him a message on behalf of all of HMG and reaching out. I'm sure when you're in, I've been in that, going just past July 4th here. It was the 11th anniversary of losing my best friend Hooch, and before that, Big Bill. And I've lost plenty of people way too young, and it can end that quick, man. But that was a tough one. Not that a wrestling match or anything like that matters. It's just how fast life moves and how fragile it is when you think you're protected from everything. And just wanted to send Carson Drake all of our condolences and sympathy on his loss that way. And then, the show must go on, I guess is what it comes to. So hopefully in his performance, sometimes I feel like I do that when I'm got something big going, a moment happening with somebody. I always try and think of my buddy Hooch, be like, because he was my wrestling bro for 6 years. We watched every Nitro, every Raw there fucking was, every bit of ECW, and went to all the shows together, and he was gone like that. So I try and take a moment before I go through the curtain to be like, this one's for us, buddy, because he really only got to see me do comedy, never got to see me get to this level in wrestling. So I try and carry a bit of that through, and I feel like it helps my performance because I have to hold myself to a standard, not just for me, and I think Carson Drake will probably do a lot of that in memory of his mother here, for years to come. So very tough scenario, man. Very, very tough. And if you're going through something like that, wrestler or not, or anything along those lines, condolences and empathy to you as well, man, because that shit going through every July 4th, almost now when I hear fireworks, it's like, let me try and turn off my emotions because it's just that constant reminder, But I guess I could spin that as celebration of the big guy's life as well. But y'all, man, tough situation out there.
Yeah. For anybody that's going through stuff, because we all are, just remember that, when something like a tragedy or something like that happens, that there aren't any wrong choices. We don't have like a playbook for grief. So some people think, they don't want to deal with whatever they have going on or stuff that's, scheduled or whatever, and they want to pull out of that. That's fine if you don't want to be a part of it, if you've got other things on your mind. If you want to go through with the things that you have planned, that's okay too. Like, those choices are not wrong or right. You have to do what you feel like is important in the moment, and don't worry about what everybody else thinks. Think about yourself and the people close to you at that time. That's what I would say about that.
Yeah. And I know we got HMG members in the chat right now who are going through their own health issues and pushing. And just know that there are, whether it's in our own group or wherever, man, we're thinking about you and want you to be the best and most healthy you can. And even my business partner, former owner of 2CW, Josh, and now my cannabis biz partner along with his brother Jason. But Josh went through it for 2 years, man, and was on the liver transplant list, and I was going to be his donor. And not a lot of people even know that. I'm not saying that for my own edification. I'm saying the fact that he's lost 200 pounds, still working hard to get the weight down even more, no liquor, and now he's off of the liver transplant list, which usually once you're on a transplant list, to be pulled from it is a very rare thing. So huge win there for me, man, or not me, for him and for everybody who cares about him so much. I guess for me, because I don't have to get sliced open and have my liver cut in half. Do you know the liver regenerates fully, Vet?
No,
That's the only thing that we're like, what, an amphibian, you cut a leg off, it'll grow back. You can take up to 70% of, I think 65 to 70% of a liver to transplant, and the person they're taking it from, it'll grow back within a year, I think.
Oh, that's amazing.
No other organs, but that's a weird fucking thing. So, if you're going through that type of stuff, man, when it might be a long road, but stay the course. It took him 2 years he was in the hospital for almost a year, multiple surgeries, even more surgeries ahead to repair some stuff, but far better outlook and lease on life. Plus he got the fuck out of pro wrestling, so that probably helped a lot too.
Oh, sure.
But I know that we got a couple people out there who are going through that. I don't want to have to out your business and whatnot, but we're all thinking about you. But stay on that course, man. It's a long road, but you can kick out and get yourself better. It might take 2 years, but we're here to say you can do it. So, Vet, do you have anybody conspire against you and take your belts this weekend?
Let me think. No, I don't think so. I think
good for you, buddy.
Yeah, everything worked out.
I don't think there was much going on here, but there is some news on the sheets. Nothing too really heavy, man. So it was kind of a quiet week, which usually means that in the following weeks, somebody's going to do something really stupid, So that's.
I could use a quiet week.
Yeah, people were asking if I don't know if this is the guy at the show, a nice white beard flag. I gotta believe that is gotcha,
Jolly Roger. Yeah,
gotcha, because somebody was
fans in the house. Yeah.
Well, somebody had asked me, does Hameen have his flag for sale? I was like, no, I only have the one there, but you can buy it for $1,000 if you really want it. It's been that flag has been through every war pretty much, right? Like it's hit everybody, so it's got value. If not, I also have old flag poles that I've saved that I hit Hacksaw Jim Duggan with. If you guys want to buy those, it'll be a cheaper price.
Is that the flag still the same one from back when?
Well, when I was with Ali and Khalil, I had the Iranian flag, which I have the Iranian Iraq flag still.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Hameen ISIS flag didn't come until whenever ISIS and ISIL popped up in 2013, 14, and since then, everyone who's been hit with is that one.
Yeah, that flag cost me the fucking title, Ben. Don't think I forget.
Well, not the title, the envelope.
the gold headdress. So we just took that from you. Like, is that what we would have done?
That would have been it. Well, what is Rip's envelope, right? That's what we got. You got tuition in DCW if you were the champs.
Yeah.
Which was a complete lie. So good, Rib, all the way around.
Right.
You're still paying. Media Empire says replicate the flag on a shirt, and it is. That's the main Ben Hameen shirt. It just doesn't have Infidel Crusher and broken. Actually, it does have Infidel Crusher on there. So you can get that at prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hameen. And somebody else who's trying to crush infidels, one of my brothers, Middle Eastern brothers, Tony Khan. You might have heard of him. He's slowly chipping away at having a former WWE star wrestle for him. As previously noted, former WWE and Ring of Honor star Chris Hero, known as WWE as Cassius Ohno, has been working as a producer in AEW ROH. When a fan on Twitter proposed that the idea of Hero being a part of the 2023 Blood and Guts match, AEW President Tony Khan stated, "I'm chipping away at him." Khan also said the following, I can't say for sure if I'll ever get him, but I'll keep chipping away at him on a weekly basis, and hopefully someday he'll crack. Either way, I love working with him. You know, he's a great worker, Chris Hero. There's no doubt about that. I've been lucky to watch and see him do some. He had a really great match with Colin Delaney, I remember, at the Wrestling Hall of Fame. And he's got his own Wu-Tang shirt. So we were doing Wu-Tang battle at the merch table as well, spitting lyrics back and forth at each other. I've never worked Chris Hero, but been on plenty of shows with him. I thought what a major miss by WWE and NXT to not have him and Cesaro come together as, what were they, the Kings of Chicago? Is that what they were, or something like that?
Kings of Wrestling, Kings of Pro Wrestling, one of those sort of things.
And you know, I'm nobody to body shame anybody when it comes to, you know, fat guts and gyno,
right.
But fucking that was kind of the frustrating thing, because this guy was an independent, I mean, pun intended, hero, one of the best workers and best guys you could book for your indie shows. And then they finally get the shot and get up there, and he kind of doesn't want to do the program. You know, you're paid to work out and paid to eat right, and you've worked your whole life to get here. And he had great matches in NXT, but never would get in shape, stayed in Eddie Kingston. In fact, got in worse shape than he ever really was on the indies when he was signed. And that was not frustrating, but a lot of us were like, fuck yeah, Chris Hero, one of the good guys, is going to get his shot. And then doesn't really go full bore, balls to the wall with it. I don't think he's the kind of guy who gets scared of opportunity and self-sabotages, but he made it and then got burnt out while he was there. I'm not sure on that one, man, but a great talent that WWE never really got a chance to, you know, get max value or money or notoriety out of. And him and Claudio kind of needed each other, I think, in order to get over, and neither of them did.
I'm not sure exactly what, I mean, so Chris Hero showed up at, I think he showed up at OVW like right after I left.
Yep. They both
and
came
that's
there.
when some Ring of Honor guys, like that came in, and
they got signed right after that, both of them.
Yeah, and so I wasn't around him there. I didn't get the vibe. Everybody seemed to like him okay. There's a funny story that it's not my story to tell, because not because it's anything bad or anything, but just because I don't know all the particulars, so I don't want to retell somebody else's story. But it was just something to the effect of like him putting together a match with what's the guy's name that was like, what was his name in WWE? It was like Kalen Croft or something.
It was fucking
the other dude buster that's not Trent.
His fucking
Chris Cage. Chris Cage.
Yeah. Why is that so hard to remember?
Another Cage. So there's too many damn Chris Cages in wrestling too. But yeah, there's this one. Yeah, so he was like, you know, Hero was back there like laying out a match, like, and I'm gonna do this and this, and then Chris Cage is just sitting there like with his little cup with his chew and everything, listening to him, going, okay, yep, and then they go out there, and then he's just like, you know, he does whatever, like, they don't do any of that, and then Chris Hero goes back through the thing. He's like, what happened out there, man? Just like, so.
That was a good ass match, though. I remember the match you're talking about. So
yeah. So it may have been worse if Chris Hero gotten to do all the stuff he wanted to do. So so that was the impression I got, you know, and from seeing him, it seemed like he always wanted to do a lot. I don't know at what point he started to like really, you know, pack on the pounds, but it wasn't just that. Like he never got fat enough to be like the fat guy, like a King Kong Bundy or like a Bronson Reed today. He just was like a tall guy that was extra fat, but still like not really that fat. So it just doesn't look good on his frame. And he had this, but besides all that, he had this stupid gimmick that I don't know if they gave it to him or if he had any part of it, but Cassius Ono, which is the worst fucking, so you could have the initials KO, which is exactly what they did with like an arguably much better talent Kevin Owens when he showed up. They were like, well, we'll give him the KO initials because this ain't working. So but that's again, talking back to what we were saying about the Bloodline, that's the extent of their creativity. Right. His initials are KO and he's a knockout artist, and then he comes in and does like a bunch of chain wrestling and European shit. All right, whatever. We don't have to make sense in wrestling. That's fine. But yeah, it just never really, that's one of those situations where the office will see a guy like that, judge him purely on his appearance, and then weigh out the rest of the attributes. Like
I thought, he'd be smart enough to be like, when I first saw him dough up like that, I was like, cause I always struggle with it too. But I was like, shit, man, maybe he's being smart and putting weight on so we can see the transformation of him to, I thought that was what it was going to be. Like Claudio's like, what are you doing? We worked our ass off to get here and you look like shit. You're getting in shape now. We're going to get some climate change, B12, and 6 months from now, we're going to rock and show the transformation. But it just kind of seemed like he lost a little and then ballooned up and went back to kind of put it on coast. You know what I mean? On autopilot. I don't know.
Maybe he's one of those guys that they just, somebody signs him because, like Regal sees him's like, oh yes, we must sign, Chris Hero, of course. And then he gets there, and then other people that had nothing to do with that are like, well, isn't this guy just like pretty tall for a bass player in a garage band? Like maybe they just don't see the value on, and plus he's fat, so it's like, okay, well, I really don't want to do anything with this guy. And if he's anything like that story with Chris Cage, then I can see how he would annoy people in the office. And those are the kind of things where when you ask the questions of like, whatever happened to that guy, like through whether it's right or wrong or through a fault of their own or not, or a combination of a bunch of things, it just doesn't work out in that environment. So he seems to have a really good mind for the business, and maybe his talents are being put to good use where he can still like help people out and sort of vicariously live out his ideas without actually having to go through the toil of being on the road and everything like that. That's good for him. If Tony Khan is chipping away at him, hopefully he's chipping away at that fat stomach too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully he's not Chips Ahoying away at him. Like, I'll give you these if you wrestle. How about this? Instead of the Dude Busters, what if we had the Gut Busters and we got them a personal fitness coach, and they got Eddie Kingston and Chris Hero into incredible shape? Like, imagine that. Like you every meal prep, there's nothing else. You make them disciplined for 8 months, and then you bring them back, and they both look awesome.
Well, then you got to prepare for the online brigade of people that are talking about body shaming and all this other stuff. And why would they push this on these people, even though it's a positive thing? But you know how nobody can just not say something. Everybody's got to say something. Everybody's got to have their take on it. Do those guys want to be just, put in the spotlight as fat slobs, even though we all kind of know it's just like an unspoken or well-spoken secret of, look, Eddie Kingston has a fat stomach. Chris Hero has a fat stomach. They don't like to talk about it. They're a little sensitive about their fat stomach. Right. They don't bring it up in every interview. Sure. I know Eddie Kingston says he had some ice cream the other day. That was his kind of like, clap back at some of the people that talk about him and everything, which is funny. But I don't know how Chris feels about it. He never really mentioned being fat in any of the time I've seen him. So it's probably something that gets on his nerves a little bit. I don't know, man, but
let somebody else do it. Let somebody else call him out. If we're the Gut Busters, you could do it either way. It's either to lose 20 pounds or who can put on 20 more pounds first. How about getting fatter and having, it'd be comedy, obviously, but, at least you could troll the trolls with it to some degree. You know what I mean? And it would get over. I'd blow them up with making them do food challenges, or every week they have to have weigh-ins to see who can put on 20 pounds first and then lose 30 pounds first, get them both out there at the track, and Kingston's got to run a mile while smoking cigarettes or something. I'm sure that's something he'd be
besides all the other inherent issues with that idea, it's a matter of consistency you see the level of consistency that they put out just on simple cliched wrestling angles, and to have something that actually needs physical, tangible, and visual follow through. Yeah, I don't put a lot of faith in them being able to pull that off. But
how about the belly buddies? You like that for a?
Oh yeah, let's print it.
And then like their whole thing is they could take their guts out like Chunk from Goonies and do the truffle shuffle, and then all the fat neckbeards around the entire arena could do it in return, and like you'd have the whole crowd shaking their fat guts and man titties. Wouldn't that be a great visual?
That's the worst wave I've ever seen.
Fat pride, right? Like if it's pride, all that shit, to go turn it right around and fucking play into it. I mean, that doesn't show you great technical wrestling, but guess what? Great technical wrestling don't get over. Entertainment character get over. So.
Well.
Oh shit! But chipping away. So hey, even if it's not for some stupid wrestling angle, I hope Buddy gets in fucking the shape that he's happiest in, and maybe good enough to be on camera to have a match over there or two. But definitely a kind of a head scratcher of a career of like, fuck, this guy had all the ability, could cut the promo. Interesting style, different from everybody else's, and was really a 10th grader amongst kindergartners at NXT. He just needed that junior and senior year on the main roster to become a top guy, and it never kind of came to fruition. And that's the head scratching part, because you got there and then you didn't do what you were supposed to. I don't know, weird of the why of that, Get me man titties. It's Mankind's cousin. He's got big breasts. Speaking of big breasts, Sable's name was apparently not allowed to be mentioned during a WWE Hall of Fame speech. During the July 7th edition of SmackDown, Edge mentioned that he teamed up with Sable at the 1998 SummerSlam pay-per-view. This was a rare occasion where Sable's name was brought up on WWE programming. During a recent virtual autograph signing, WWE Hall of Famer Tori Wilson noted the following. He says, "You're not even allowed to mention her name. I mentioned her name in my Hall of Fame speech, and right before the ceremony, they told me, oh, by the way, you're not allowed to mention her name." Wilson and Sable worked together in WWE and were on the cover of Playboy magazine. Sable, who's married to Brock Lesnar, has kept a low profile since 2004. Man, this is strange of... You got Brock. She was the top woman for years. Is this don't mention her name because of an NDA? Don't mention her name just because of basic locker room heat on something? You've heard Cornette go in X amount of times. And even Russo of the appeal of the Blonde Bitch Project and things along those lines, man, that could have got over Mega, and people were like, she's the worst wrestler ever. She's not supposed to be a wrestler. She's eye candy valet that they put in there to test her, and she did as good as she could with the limited training she had, being Johnny B. Bad's fucking side piece, watching most of the time. So it's interesting, though. I mean, Edge got to drop the name, but what they're saying here, why you would not even be allowed to mention it, which seems very McMahon, there's got to be some bigger kayfabed inciting incident that leads to thou who shall not be named in your Hall of Fame speech, right? And don't name McMahon either. He doesn't want you to say his fucking name either.
Well, don't overthink it. It's probably just Brock saying, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
You don't want him to walk up on stage on you.
It's probably literally written into his contract, whatever contract he signs. Don't talk about my wife,
Yeah.
For all we know, there could be minor heat on Edge just for saying it. Not that anything's going to happen because of it, but just like, oh, you shouldn't have said that. Or maybe it didn't matter. I don't know what terms Edge and Brock are on that. But it just seemed like an off-the-cuff thing, and most people, if they weren't paying attention, like they probably shouldn't be on a SmackDown segment. They probably didn't even think about it or hear it. So there you go. But yeah, I just think it's that. I just think it's Brock saying, "Don't talk about my wife. I know she was a big part of this thing, but not anymore." And shut the fuck up. I think that's all it is. And Vince McMahon probably agrees, because if he doesn't agree, then Brock ain't gonna be coming around to get his ass kicked by Cody Rhodes in 30 seconds and then fly back home, you know? So
it's a great point. I just don't know the why of we don't need to reference her or make fun of her, I guess, but to erase her from history almost in a Benoit kind of way of don't say shit. That's strange to me. Like it might be nothing. It might be
for the Hall of Fame thing. It might have been a case of like, well, if we bring up Sable's name at the Hall of Fame, people are going to be, I don't even know if she's in the Hall of Fame, but if she's not, then people could be bringing it up, and then that just brings her name back up. And that's what Brock doesn't want. He doesn't want attention. He doesn't want any sort of anybody to think about anything about his real life. So anything that could incite like a let's get Sable in the Hall of Fame, parade or whatever, just like he's probably just wants to keep all that from whatever. He may not have even told, I'm sure he had nothing to do with telling Tori Wilson anything about that. I think that was just the edict being handed down as per the agreement that was made with Brock, that he doesn't need to remind everybody personally not to talk about his wife, but just everybody just knows that. I think that's my guess. I could be wrong, but that's just my intuition on the whole thing.
Well, not Tori Wilson, so I can't wait to see Brock versus Tori Wilson at SummerSlam. I think that's going to be Cody will get bumped. Braun panties, Brock points.
He's already dressing like Trish Stratus, so like why not?
Yeah, right. John Moxley, you might have heard of him. He comments on the frequent usage of blood in AEW matches. He says, "Oh, this goes on and on."
If he says anything other than, "Well, my forehead wound just keeps opening up," I'm sorry, then I don't even know what there is to say.
He says this is a combat sport. College wrestling is a combat sport. They have blood timeouts to patch it up. The lowest prelim bout of UFC or a boxing card sometimes has a little blood on their eyebrow or blood coming out of their nose, but they're not selling a blood sport. It's not tune in for the blood, tune in for the gore. It's part of the aesthetic. It adds realism sometimes when I don't even want it to, but I only know one speed. Well, guess what? You should know multiple speeds. That's with my foot on the gas pedal. If we're going to do something, let's fucking do it. That can be detrimental when it comes to negative things like drugs or alcohol, but that's my mindset. If I'm going to do it, I'm doing it. What's that, Crank? What do you got over there, Blow? Heroin? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
When it comes to
my
blood,
demons.
It's dark clouds. It's just going to happen sometimes. Like I said, it's the foot on the gas pedal. Some people say this is just a random match. Why is there blood? I heard that last week in Tomohiro Ishii. He's one of the greatest of all time. I'm not going to let that moment slip by. I'm going to foot to the fucking gas pedal. How can I not? Then I hear that I have a good match without blood. Okay, then you made my argument for me. Or I can't have a good match without blood. Okay, then you made my argument for me. I'll do it every time. Do what? Gig? You first you try and lay out that UFC has blood, but they don't bill it as a blood sport. Okay, I'm down with that argument. You know what else they don't do? Have the guys on UFC over in the corner cutting themselves on camera, fucking showing it all. They actually get hard weighed. So if that's one thing that it might go for your argument, but you're not saying the fact that you're doing this shit for your own edification, because then you go, I can't work because I only know one speed. You came through NXT and WWE and you're the top guy at AEW and you only know one speed, you're fucked. And guess what? And that one speed is super fast and vicious. What is everybody telling you? Slow the fuck down. Let things mean something. Don't do fucking, let me take 3 clothesline bump feed and then I'll rock back on the second rope and do a knockout punch on you and also fall down. That one speed is ridiculous and makes no sense most of the time and looks like CZW dog shit work. But because it's in the main event or on the flagship TV show, that somehow qualifies it as, well, this guy made it to there with that type of style. This must be right, when it's all trash over and over and over again. So to be like, foot's on the gas pedal, I'm fucking rocking this bitch all the way to the end. If you really are the big fan of this shit, like you claim to be, and that you love pro wrestling, then you wouldn't be a one-trick pony who can only fucking get over by gigging and no selling everything. So this answer is very true, but also completely myopic and not really even understanding what he's saying is almost making him look worse and not justifying why he does what he does.
There's a limited amount of understanding that, like, what essentially amounts to a shaved ape can have in relation to this business, the craft of it, and what it's supposed to, what it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to be done. He's got it in his mind what he needs to do and what he is in it, his place in it, and that's just never going to change. It's not like he's going to learn a lesson at this stage or at any of the previous stages. The light bulb was never going to go off for him. When you start with, I'm a deathmatch guy, you do not sort of evolve from that. Most people devolve into it. In the same kind of sad way of, like, in the movie The Wrestler, one of the things I was thinking when I see that kind of that movie I was watching, and when he's doing the stuff in the movie with the Necro Butcher, I'm just like, it feels like to me a little bit inauthentic in the sense that I would think an old time, like one of the old veteran guys would just refuse to do any of that stuff. So the only way that it really makes sense in the telling of the story is like, this is all I can do now. I have to take every paycheck I can get. And these are things I would have never done. But now that I'm in this such destitute shape, I have to do this. Otherwise,
I think a lot of that is Terry Funk and Sabu mixed into that story, right?
Well, yeah, it is, because where else would they think of? Well, Sabu's another guy that kind of started at foot to the pedal and never really, because even though he probably could have done more basic things, that's not how we ever saw him, in his career in the public. So that if he ever was chain wrestling and doing that kind of stuff, it was behind closed doors and we never saw it. We immediately saw him going through tables and, barbed wire and all this other shit. So it's different. And Terry Funk just, I don't know what's wrong with Terry Funk. I can't explain that one, but, you can't tell Terry Funk what to do. So, those are like those outliers, but definitely inspirations for the wrestler. But my point is,
don't tell me what to do.
Thank you. I've missed that. The point is, this is a guy who should have been mired in that stuff to this day and somehow made it way too far. He made it to the top of both major companies, like, and have people actually.
He goes to GCW and lets Effie choke him out while he's jerk off while he's choking him out.
Yeah, that's just one thing he did. There are many other things he's done. And this is basically who he is. It's not a case of anything other than a backyard wrestler that took it way too far, or was allowed to take it way too far. This should have been snuffed out a long time ago. But for whatever reason,
that Joey Mercury, who we both know has an incredible mind, and all of those guys in the Shield, really, I've heard them all in individual interviews attribute their success and their raising of their mindsets in wrestling because of what Joey taught them when he was aging their stuff as the Shield and they were green as grass kind of. And I feel I could relate to that completely, because there's tons of Joey Matthews fucking lessons that I take from OVW and still apply, or I just hear that, tell my students, never miss a chance to shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. As simple as that, or him teaching me how the proper way to do a flag shot, and, plenty of other kayfabery. But, to see him work this style that is so stupid and basic, and with only a couple, tune it down, not turn it up, and put some space in between and take care of your production and direction so they're not catching you gig, and save the color for when it means something. You should absolutely know, no, red equals green, as we say, but it's not going to equal green if you do it every week and it just lost all its weight. And especially if you're doing it in the opening segment of the show, that's the highest thing we could do in wrestling is get actual color and blood. But now we open with that, and hey, everybody follow that. That is a selfish hog of a performer. He doesn't understand how a show is put together, and that you don't do that in the opener because you just fuck the rest of the show for everybody else to get over. That is straight being a hog, in my opinion, bro.
Yeah, forget everything else that we've already talked about. Just the idea of it doesn't matter. Take one thing, any one thing, and do it every single time. That's not, that's not what we want. Everybody will get sick of something eventually, whether it's good, bad, mediocre, whatever. Like, if you just keep doing the same thing, it's like, oh, here's this again. It should never get to the point where where something that should be incidental, like an errant blow or like a run into the post or something like that could cause, a wound to open. That should not be expected in every single encounter. And so that's why his rationale for it just doesn't make sense. But you know what it reminds me of? It's like, you remember the it was like the Saturday Night Live skit with Conan O'Brien where he played like the James the Gentleman Masher, like the old time boxer, that would like they just have the 100 rounds of going like this back and forth, and then they said they introduced African American athletes into the sport of boxing, and they immediately just started punching him. And so like eventually it got to the point where, after so many more bouts, like the bell would ring and then blood just started pouring down his head. Like, that reminds me of Jon Moxley. It's to the point of mockery. It's to the point of being a meme. It's to the point of like, that is the problem, John, that you don't understand. Like, it's not about whether you're a justification for it happening or you trying to, explain it away. It's just the fact of like, it's the same thing over and over again.
How about we're supposed to be heels and we enter through the crowd to a fucking sing-along song.
Yeah. Well,
from the get-go, you're off course. But we got to get our spotlight in because that's who we are,
Yeah, lots of things.
Like you said, one thing, it could be, shout out Lagana. Show me one thing. You were talking about backyard indie wrestlers, and Jim Cornette says Matt Hardy is selling his soul by praising the Elite, and Hardy responds. Matt Hardy praised the Elite's match against Dark Order. He said the following: said Dark Order versus the Elite was a fantastic match. I've seen that match at 2CW a couple times. It's nice to see Dark Order earn such a well-deserved spotlight. The Young Bucks and Adam Page are extraordinary talents that will unfortunately get their flowers way later than they should. Between this and the toxic cult or Cornette cult, these guys don't get enough adoration that they truly deserve. The diehard Elite fans are phenomenal and get why they're special, but there's a huge chunk of fans that fail to give them the credit they deserve. Give these guys their flowers. I fucking hate that fucking stupid new phrase. Geez, Matt, and Cornette responds, geez, Matt, I could understand selling your soul for rock and roll, but selling it for Adderall? Oof. Even if you have to abandon your principles and verbally fillet these childish cretins for your check, leave my fans alone. It's not their fault Tony's not paying them enough to lie. Here was Matt's response to Cornette. He says, geez, Jim, haven't sold my soul. I'm sticking to my principles and telling truths. I feel morally obligated to do right by my friends, although that's probably foreign to you. Oof. I earn a check because I'm great at what I do and I'm still employable. Keep seeding dissension amongst fans with your shtick. It's too sweet. Yeah, dude. I mean, Matt Hardy, now there's a guy who, with whatever physical limitations, has reinvented himself X amount of times to show you that character is absolutely king, and can get over 15 different ways, even if he's reshuffled in stupid little groups or whatever the fuck it is. But the back and forth, I mean, will the Elite get their shine post or whatever that no one says they're great now? Maybe. I mean, they're not larger than life characters, but they're also not playing to what makes them great, which is being ribbing the business and making a mockery of the old school thing. Now the outside anti-heroes are the Office and they tone their shit way down and there's not a lot of shine on them. So when you see the match, it doesn't mean as much. If they were the young punks fucking with everybody, then maybe it would. So Matt Hardy's going to go to bat for his locker room, and the Bucks versus, the Hardy Boys is big money anywhere on any fucking card. But I think it's interesting when Cornette claps back and is like calling out the drug issues of AEW, of like everybody's doing addies back there and putting each other over, giving each other circle jerk hand jobs without saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. On that note, what the fuck is Matt Hardy talking about? Is he talking about? Wasn't that match on Rampage? Like, wasn't there a match on the Rampage to start off Rampage with the? It was like a six man with the. So is Matt Hardy just? Is he just trying to get people to watch Rampage? Because I can understand that. Yeah. Hey, you missed a great match on Rampage, guys. Like. Yeah. But he made that cardinal mistake of throwing Cornette's name in there where it didn't need to be. Because Cornette is like a sleeping giant. He doesn't really go after people. People bring stuff to his attention and then he'll comment on it. But so when you throw his name out there,
yeah, you know you're going to be on the show, right? You know,
and the reason that Matt probably did it was because there was already some back and forth between Cornette and Rebby, like sometime last year, and you know, like Rebby's not going to take any shit either, so she's going to go at whoever. So like they did their thing back and forth, and you know, the thing about Cornette is he makes so many apologies for Matt Hardy and the Hardy Boys because he does like them. Like he talks about, like he'll still try to do. Look, if you ask me just personally, I think the Hardy Boys have always been rotten. They've been rotten. Jim Cornette, if he didn't like the Hardy Boys, he would have called them terrible for like the past 30 years. But he likes them, so he doesn't. He tries to defend them, but let's face it. Like you said at the top, they're backyard wrestlers that got way too fucking far in this business. And I'm not saying they didn't deserve to keep their spots or that they didn't earn them eventually or whatever, but that is literally what they were. And those kind of people you didn't used to get into the business. Those used to stay on the outside of the business because of gatekeepers like Jim Cornette that thought that they were an affront to the industry, and that's why they could only get so far. But now that guys like them have made it that far and made a career of falling off of things, then we can have these, we can look at them as like legendary figures. And Jim Cornette, after all these years, because of his affinity for the Hardy Boys, still tries to defend them despite what they do, even until they become completely indefensible. And that's what he has to talk about. So if Matt would have just left that word Cornette out of his tweet, we wouldn't even be having this conversation now, but someone's going to let him know. And he's going to comment because he wasn't tagged. If you notice, he just said the name Cornette, which means that his fans, that toxic cult, they're going to come and be like, "Hey Jim, see what Matt Hardy said?" They love that shit.
Yep, 100%, and they keep putting the money back on them, and until the next time, I guess DUI number 8, maybe, who knows? You know what? Where we're gonna go next? The week is young, but you're talking about jumping off of stuff. Logan Paul on WWE Money in the Bank tussle with Ricochet. He said he blew the fucking match for me. During a recent episode of Impulsive, Logan Paul walked through his botched Spanish fly with Ricochet and Money in the Bank. He said, Ricochet and I were supposed to do what's called a Spanish fly off the top rope, Paul said. So one of our legs is on the rope, one of our legs is on the ladder. So we're supposed to hit it at the same time. When we hit that rope, it was before me. So he moved it. So I slipped all the way down to the bottom. Paul reminded everyone that he doesn't know how to improvise in the ring just yet. And in the heat of the moment, Paul knew they had messed up, but Ricochet flipped them anyway. He said, our legs are all twisted like this. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker is still trying to send this shit. I'm not even ready. His feet aren't even planted off the second rope. He just hucks a backflip. And I'm like, all right. Went crashing through the tables, scraped my shoulder, hit my head on the thing. I'm fine. No concussions or anything. It's just a wild sport. I don't know what I'm doing. That could be the fucking it keeps going. After the match, WWE filmed a segment where Paul and Ricochet brawled to further set up their new feud, and according to the internet sensation, he scrapped with Ricochet because of their botch. He says, I'm gonna be honest, he blew the fucking match for me. That's why we got into it backstage. I got into a little tussle with him. I don't know, I felt like he was a little unprofessional. I like this where a botch gets worked into a work shoot, you know, and guys actually would be super hot if that's your high spot on the show and it goes to shit and you're not a WWE talent who knows how to shut the fuck up and kayfabe and just say thank you, and you're gonna show boo-boo face backstage or get into it with them. Now they could be working this whole thing and it's just a botch and they're fine with it and everybody walked away without a broken neck, which is always a good day when you're doing Spanish flies off a fucking top rope through a table on the outside. But I like that this kind of blurs the lines, and maybe we should do a botch on a high spot and then have the guys fall out because it fucked up their performance, even though we're breaking kayfabe saying, no, the wrestling spot and da 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 da. But it actually leads to, I mean, wrestling's so exposed anyway. What's it really matter to break that is what I'm saying, Vet. So this makes their feud, if they're actually going to go to it, seem like it's a bit more these motherfuckers hate each other, even if they don't, and we don't ever find that out.
Yeah, but here's why that doesn't work. Because what's the payoff? Fake wrestling match.
Sure.
So don't do it. You have to keep, even in the exposed state that the business is, we have to
or
keep
not fake. You got this guy. His whole thing is boxing, right? Maybe Ricochet has to box him because we're fuck fake wrestling. I'm gonna fight your ass for real, and we get that. Would you be on that road or no? That
no, the same thing we said last week when we were talking about that you can't do a shoot fight with Ronda and Shayna because that exposes everything else on the card. How are you going to sit through a fake sandwich? You know, just it doesn't work, and it's a bad idea. It's why the Brawl for All was a bad idea. So I think that it's interesting because he is blurring the lines here, because the scuffle that he's talking about was a fucking worked thing that they shot for the website, and they showed it. You know, we saw it, like we saw their little fake wrestling brawl, but he's talking about real things here and putting real heat on Ricochet. So either this happened the way he said it happened, and Ricochet's an asshole, or he's making Ricochet sound like an asshole and Ricochet's not an asshole, and now he has to deal with people thinking he's unsafe. And why would you want to put that on him if it wasn't true? So this whole thing is kind of bizarre, just the way he's laying it out there. But like, regardless, if anybody that listens to his podcast, he's probably trying to just get them to watch. He's probably trying to get them to watch whatever he does on WWE, and in doing so, he's trying not to insult their intelligence, and he's just trying to keep it like as a shoot, I guess, is the thing. I don't think he really thinks that WWE fans are going to come and listen to his show, nor does he need them to. No. So I think it's the other way around, but it's still weird because, you know, if I'm Ricochet, even if I'm Ricochet and we did something and I made a mistake and I could have hurt you, I'm going to feel bad. Yeah. You know, like, and then if he calls me out for it, for something that I'm already sorry for, I'm gonna be like, oh man, and now I got to work with this guy. And even if I'm not like me personally, I can only use
it's what they did with Braun and him, right? They fucking put them together right away.
But for me personally, I can only speak for me in this situation, but like, I would not want to have to deal with anybody thinking that, you know, I didn't want to work with them or I had done something to them in the ring on purpose. I would never take liberties with anybody. If I made a mistake, I would say I made a mistake, and I would hope they believe me. But, you know, so if Ricochet's that kind of guy, if he's anything like that, then this really sucks. Because now everybody in the industry, they don't need to listen to his show. All they need to do is read this clip that you're reading. And now they're going to be like, oh, I didn't know Ricochet sucked. I didn't know Ricochet was an asshole. I don't want to get in that ring with him. You know?
Think Ricochet had to call the audible there and save them, protect them where they weren't maybe set how they wanted to. He protected him pretty good on the Spanish Fly. Table doesn't give a fuck about you. Table wants to kill you.
Yeah, but what he said, what Logan Paul said was right, because when I saw that spot in the match, I was like, oh dude, don't go yet. He wasn't ready. No. And that's a mistake that I wouldn't expect somebody as experienced as Ricochet to make. I would have thought he would have like just take the extra couple seconds, even if it looks phony, but just make sure it's safe. That's the most important thing. But they went, and I could see they weren't ready when they went. No. And I was just like, oh my God.
How
and
are
then
you ready to do a Spanish Fly off the ropes with split leg on?
But you can be more ready than that. I mean, that's the thing, because they couldn't get the full rotation. That was the dangerous part. And they had like 2 tables laid out. I think they only broke one of them. It sucked. But yeah, so that was surprising. So, you know, Logan Paul's actually calling it like I saw it there. And I just chalked it up to like, you know, in the moment, just nervous or maybe just a slip or something. Yeah. And Ricochet panicked or whatever, or Logan Paul panicked, or they both panicked or whatever. How many times are you in that situation? We don't drill that. So I don't know, but It's weird though that he's talking in the same breath about something actually that happened. Like, yeah, we were setting up this fake spot that's fake and everything, and we got into a tussle backstage about it. Like, what are you doing? Are you selling? Are you working? Are you not? Like, you know, pick one.
No, that's great points on all that stuff. That was that could have, even if you scraped your face, bumped your head, that could have gone way, way worse for sure. Why Bully Ray says AEW is not playing to Keith Lee's strengths. Shout out to all the Bearcats out there from my self-help groups, having a good time on Wednesdays. And so let's see here. The drop-off, in my opinion, with Keith Lee has been substantial, Bully Ray said on Busted Open. Keith Lee now needs an Apollo Creed. I believe that the right guy to get in Keith Lee's face and start reminding him and who he was for a brief period of time and what his potential really is Mark Henry. I don't disagree with that. Obviously, if we're talking about guys who big black guys built like a Sherman fucking tank, Mark Henry is the guy to give him advice, no doubt, and say, this is where you need to go. And Bearcat got rid of the wizard robe and shaved his gray beard and got some Just for Men and brushed that in his hair. And now he looks 15 years younger than he did a month ago. Black don't crack. And, you know, even if he's carrying some extra weight, he still looks like a badass. Like, you don't want to get pounced by that big, bear coming at you pretty much to maul you, Bearcat, if you will. And the other thing is they haven't really, I think this is a good thing, even though I'd like to see him take acting lessons to switch his style or lean into it. They're not giving him the mic to do the William Shatner promo. I am Keith Lee, and I am here to hit my NXT catchphrase. Like, that, they're not doing that. And I think that's smart. But I'd like to see him work on his delivery so he can get the mic back, because he is confident, but it's sometimes when you're expecting a big man just to hit the line, he then goes into some weird diatribe that lets a lot of the air out of the scene. So, but Mark Henry as the mentor to be like, look, motherfucker, you need to get your shit together. You only got so much time in this biz. You're a big man. You've already had health problems. You've bounced back. Are you going to fuck a brass ring? Are you going to tear this arena down? Are you going to leave your name, Keith Lee, that echoes forever like John Studd or Andre the Giant or King Kong Bundy? Because that's what you are and what you should be. And it seems to me right now you're more worried about Twitter games and going out there and looking cute for Orange Cassidy when you should be leaving these guys on the fucking mat like a stain. Like, somebody needs to sharpen him up that way, right?
Yep, and immediately after they give him that speech, they could say, well, looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. That would be Mark Henry would be a good person to do it. You know who else is a good person to do it? I don't know when this Bully Ray thing, I don't know what episode this came out, but I think that the person they thought would be the person to do it was Darby Allin, because if you saw that tag team match...
That was so stupid.
He went back to him in the back and was like, he said basically the same speech that you did in so many words, and then he slaps him, and then Keith Lee's like, ballsy, stupid, but ballsy, and then they go out and have the match, and he beals him across the universe, and it was like I like it in the sense for exactly why you think it's ridiculous, because you look at a Darby Allin and you're like, who the hell are you to tell somebody about, being a monster? But that at the same time, that also makes sense. If Darby Allin does things that are borderline suicidal, that's exactly what you would do. So it fits his character to do it. He's also a baby face, so it's like you could see him wanting to be like, man, I'd rather have this guy on my side, but I don't want this version of this guy on my side. I want the Keith Lee I expect to be on my side. So it works in a lot of factors. Even Keith Lee's like speech patterns and stuff. I mean, he can always tone up the cadence and tighten up the cadence on it, but I don't mind the Fraser Crane stuff because, one, it's not what you expect, but that's just who he is. If you hear him talk for any length of time, he just talks like that. So, I mean, it's better to be who you are than try to be something you're not. But That also means that when you do have to punctuate something with anger, then it's a lot more meaningful and impactful. You can tell what things are really supposed to matter because you put that exclamation point on it. I've seen it when Keith Lee raises his voice in a promo. It's pretty effective. And the reason it's so effective is because anybody can do a yelling wrestling promo, but if you spend most of your time talking calmly and rationally like this, then when you start yelling, you know shit's on. So it can work for him in that sense. But
what do you think if Mark Henry and him came up with, it doesn't have to be complete Nation of Domination, but the Keith Lee kill 150-pound white boy challenge every week. And he just comes out and kills every shindy guy on the fucking roster who's 5'8", less than 160 pounds. He just leaves them the 30 seconds in, yeah?
No, Rodney Mack did that for a while. That was cool. But no, I think there's a lot of big slabs of beef in AEW that aren't really getting used. They're buried on Ring of Honor or, even
my
other
students
places.
Said they had Hobbs. They had Hobbs go over with the help from or went under and they cheated and it still didn't go over QT. Or no, he needed QT to help him go over. Hobbs hit him with something. And then that was a falsie. QT jumped up, punched somebody, hit the guy with the same move, and Hobbs goes over. So Hobbs, the massive powerhouse by himself, nothing. One punch from QT plus Hobbs. Now nobody can.
Don't think that's a mistake either. Don't think that's not entirely planned. We know who's trying to get over there. But there's a lot of slabs of beef in AEW and Ring of Honor that Keith. I'd rather see Keith Lee do the slab of beef challenge and throw some of these huge dudes around if you really want to reestablish who he's supposed to be. The only problem is don't even bother doing any of that stuff if you're not going to make him a legitimate AEW title contender, which it doesn't look like they have anybody that size legitimately trying to contend for the AEW title.
Right. No, there's plenty of things with less is more for him instead of trying to have him do fucking multi-man high spots. They did work his size the last couple weeks. I thought better than they have with other dudes. But if you're going to do it with him, then why aren't you doing it with Brian Cage? Why aren't you doing it with Hobbs? Why aren't you doing it with Wardlow? Why aren't we building a super heavyweight division and we have these little guys who couldn't fucking fight their way out of a wet paper bag? And meanwhile, we got these fucking hosses over here that are the real wrestling. It's a big mistake. Sergeant Slaughter speaks his mind on the Lacey Evans selling sex on WWE TV. As previously noted, Sergeant Slaughter's daughter called out Lacey Evans over her new drill instructor ring attire during appearance on Sports Skeet as Wrestle Binge. Sergeant Slaughter addressed the matter. He says, I kind of just dropped it. I know we put clips out. Kaz has been on that, and we might have beat that horse to death. I don't think there's going to be a Ben Hameen Slaughter match, guys. So you can let that one go. I just kind of dropped it. I didn't watch it any further. My daughter kind of got a little upset now that she's coming out with the campaign cover on, and she's got a big cobra on the front of it, and she's got her outfit, and she's showing off a lot of cleavage. To me, that's selling sex. That's not selling that you're a tough son of a bitch from the Marine Corps. She should have a t-shirt on and have the combat boots on and have those fatigues on. If you want to emulate Sergeant Slaughter and you're from the Marine Corps and you're a drill instructor, act like one, be one. Slaughter's spot on right here. However, in the new woke army, you can probably get to the front lines quicker by wearing 6-inch stiletto heels and claiming a different gender. So they're actually going between this, I'm the slutty country girl, or I'm in the hotel room. She's taking IG pics in fucking lingerie, tape trader, masturbator material. Super sexy. And if that's the way she wants to go, then fine. But you're not going to have it the other way of I'm G.I. Jane. Because for me to believe that, now she's got to shave her head and do exactly what Slaughter says. You can't show her in a pit fight fucking at Quantico, and then all of a sudden where she's kicking the shit out of men in a UFC makeshift cage. But then we're out here saying, look at these big titties. It just don't work that way. So Slaughter's been on, and absolutely the writing staff, another major botch by not even having him come in to give her the rub and fucking get it all set in motion. You were just going to create controversy, and now because of that, they're going to shelve the push once again. So we'll now have failed Marine Corps. And that's the other thing. We re-debuted her during Memorial Day, and she's getting booed as a fucking Marine that same week. Everyone's a dumb motherfucker in how to get things set off. And then, oh, you booed me? I better go to Instagram and in my hotel room and show you my moose knuckle real quick. Okay. Good luck getting over.
Yeah. I couldn't even begin to tell you why we're sitting here today talking about the Lacey Evans that we're talking about. I don't know anything really about her personal life other than what she's said, like what they've said as commentators,
well,
or
she
with
was
their
abused,
videos.
lived in a car,
all that stuff. I don't know if that's true. Whatever. We don't know. We don't even know.
The only thing that could happen now is she comes out and is found out as a complete liar. That she's a pathological liar. Don't believe anything she says.
Yeah, but even besides that, like just the sort of like the tweaking that she's had to her character. That was like, oh, you're a babyface one week, you're a heel this week. Oh, this didn't work, so we're doing this. We never gave anything a chance. Whatever. Like all this stop and start, getting pregnant in the middle of something. Just like all these crazy things that have happened around this person. And I really don't have like a handle on what the person is. All I can tell you is that, look, she showed up at NXT doing that Rosie the Riveter gimmick, and that was enough. That's all it ever should have been. To this day, she should have been on her run of like year 5 or 6 or however long it's because it's been she's creeping up that ladder of people that have had a longer run than Steve Austin, and but she had that gimmick. So she had the look, she had the gimmick, she had the song, she had the move that had a corny name but it was funny. The Woman's Right, and that's all you need, and we should be on year 5 of a run with just that before we ever tweaked anything. Yep. We shouldn't be doing this whole, like you said, the reinvention with the Marine boot camp thing, and then you get in the ring for your re debut, and your fucking boot falls apart in the match. Get your money back on those, and then try Stagecoach or
shout out SteveTheShoeMan.com.
Yeah,
I've never had any of my souls fall off from Steve the Shoeman.
Damn right, especially not on Fox.
Yeah,
Fox
he did. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus because the guy's been awesome to me, but he did make all her boots, and that's how it went. So that was a tough day for Steve, but you're spot on with that, Vat. The other part for me, obviously doing what I do in the ring. Right now, we're in a goddamn Cold War, the hot war, really, as we fund Ukraine to attack Russia and vice versa, back and forth. We lived through the first one of these with Sergeant Slaughter, Iran, and fucking Russia, Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik, and we're not doing that again. We don't want to bring up Master Slamovich. We don't want to bring up CJ back and Miro or whatever the fuck, right? To play into the Cold War shit that actually took your company to the highest level it could have been at during that time. We're doing none of that when we could be doing all of it.
Nah, we don't need to do that. We just need to get her out there and have her be a sassy Southern Belle and just
get
stick
that
with
pepper belly a goddamn flip flop and have her hit somebody in the tits with it. That's what I want to see, Deucey.
That's right.
But before we do that, we'll have to sign off with a little bit less worry about being sued today because longtime WWE attorney Jerry McDevitt is transitioning towards retirement, not transitioning to
okay. All right.
okay. But in January 2022, MLW filed an antitrust suit against WWE, claimed that ongoing attempts to undermine competition and monopolize the professional wrestling market by interfering with MLW's contracts and business prospects. Longtime attorney Jerry McDevitt was involved with the case, but it's being replaced. He says, we have worked with Paul Weiss on many matters. They're an excellent firm who will be helping to get up to speed. It's been a great 36-year run with the company and Vince McMahon, and I'm very proud that of all we accomplished during that time, and I will continue to help them any way I can. During a episode of Observer, Meltzer discussed, he said, he's been slowing down for about a year or two, but there's more to the story because obviously WWE thought the MLW case was going away, and Jerry McDevitt wrote arguments to get the case dismissed, and they were all rejected, so the case is going forward. The law firm K&L Gates, which has been representing WWE in the case, the entire law firm is out of the case, and they've hired a new law firm, a very high-powered law firm to take the case, the same law firm they're using for their merger talks. So there's more than meets the eye, asked Cody's neck. You don't replace an entire firm unless there's something going on. And obviously, Vince McMahon was not happy with that aspect of the case not going away. So seems like future endeavors slash and burn for the law firm who, what are they? They got a better fucking win streak than The Undertaker does. They seem like they fucking crushed everybody for 36 years that stepped up against them. And now MLW slips through the cracks. I think one of the new law firms, like they said, is the one that's working on the merger. So you're probably going up against about 26 fucking corporate lawyers there from Israel. But MLW staying a fly in the ointment here. I wonder if they'll take a payoff or they'll take it all the way and set a precedent. My guess would be payoff.
Yeah, they could take a payoff, but the payoff won't help them in the long run. I mean, the problem is Court Bauer worked at the WWE, so he knows everything that goes on there, and he wouldn't have tried to bring a case this far if he didn't know that the shit that he was saying was true. And if you've read the stuff that they've alleged or whatever, and you have any time around the wrestling business, even half of it's true, then they got a good shot at winning. The only thing that would dampen that shot is what you just said, Ben, that this guy's got a Undertaker-like streak. And he's without Jerry McDevitt. How many times would the WWF have been folded before it even got to the Attitude Era, let alone through it? So he must be one motherfucker of an attorney. No one ever doubted that. However, you know, when you say transitioning into retirement, and then I realize, oh, wait a minute, the sale isn't finalized. Well, as soon as that sale is finalized, we've got our own people. We are of no interest in retaining your firm at this time, is exactly what's going. And once Jerry McDevitt is not tied to Vince McMahon, because what, do you think he's just working other fun cases on the side? Being Vince McMahon's attorney is a full-time fucking job if you've been following along with us. So, yeah, as soon as Vince McMahon is done, then Jerry McDevitt's probably done, is what I would guess.
How'd you like to be the new lawyer who has to learn about where all the bodies are buried so you can kayfabe and keep that whack-a-mole down?
That's exactly what I was thinking, because I'm thinking, you know, just like Jerry McDevitt is no longer needed, perhaps at some point in the future, once this deal is done, Vince McMahon is no longer needed, or anything to do with him and all the problems and headaches that he causes, in addition to the heavy salary that he commands and other things. Like, I think it's just a matter of time before anybody that the people that had the most to do with the old guard just get phased out, and then
how about
enter
this,
a new era
before they get the final phasing out or whatever. What if Jerry McDevitt, and this is all hypothetical fantasy for me, and could be Master Shoot Theater
or a conspiracy.
What if Jerry McDevitt has tapes from like decades where he's been secretly recording attorney-client privileges, Vince McMahon, and that's how you'd have to kind of keep track of everything that was going on. Not to say he would do it for shady, but what might actually be there, A, for either blackmail, or B, smarten up the next Satan's attorney to fucking, here, just listen to all this shit so you're up to speed on.
That would be like
alleged rapes, all the alleged fucking leaving people in the Middle East, all the NDAs, Linda's boy toys, whatever the fuck in there, right?
Remember that scene at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark when they wheel the Ark into that warehouse of that's where you need to store all those tapes.
Yeah. Oh, you're spot on there, man. But you got to believe there had to come a point where it's like, I better get some ammo so I don't go down too, so I can save myself. And any attorney worth his salt playing at that level's probably got some big guns to fire if he ever needed to, or to go, you know what? I'll shut up. I just need $25 million on the way out. I want to get a new boat. Sure, pal. Yeah, it's yours. Take my boat. So But I'm here with the boat, the best of all time of HMG, the vet, man. Thank you so much, buddy, for being here on the Monday Locker Room, doing a great job as always on all shows.
I couldn't leave you high and dry in your
Next
time
Level
of need
Review
and vulnerability.
Then maybe they sent you in here just to get more information. Maybe they did. And as well as Let's Go Brandon on the Impact Attack. Big things going on over there with our own OVW brothers facing off Santino Marella. And I like the Fandango stuff that's going on now, or Curtis, whatever you want to call him. So very cool stuff going on in Impact. Make sure you guys are tuning in for the All Moose Hour with Let's Go Brandon and the vet there exclusively at channelattitude.com. I know I've been working on the new back end, work on my back end, Deuce, of Channel Attitude.
Get McDevitt back in
there.
here.
I'm not sure when the entire when it's going to cross over or not, but I'm uploading to both spots, so hopefully there won't be any interruption. But you guys may have to refresh your RSS feed or maybe reset a password. Jeff wanted me to let you guys know that of Channel Attitude subscribers. So never a better time. I think we're actually going to have some free months coming up here to get new subs. So we'll appreciate all the help that once we get a full launch and make sure everything is where it needs to be. That we'll rely on you guys to spread with word of mouth. And like everything else, whether it's patreon.com/Hameen Media Group or the best cannabis seeds on the market at horseshoegenetics.com. Constant hustle, constant cannabis, and plenty more, trial by fire coming up here as we get ready to get some revenge on these conspirators, Vet. I'm not sure exactly how far I'm going to take it. Maybe all the way.
I think you have little recourse but to take it all the way. And that's I look forward to seeing the aftermath of that, and you know where to find me if I can be of any assistance. Of course, you all know where to find me at Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms, except for all these new ones that are popping up, although I'm thinking about just signing up for them just to steal the handle and then never use them.
Yeah,
but,
park on it, right, sure.
Yeah, other than that, and then like Ben said, the Impact Attack is live tonight, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Last week we had Piers Austin come on with us, indeed, nice. And he did tell us all about his time as the ring announcer for Impact Down Under Day 2. So check that out on channelattitude.com if you missed it. Piers Austin is great, as always. And, of course, you can find Big Ray and myself every Wednesday on the Next Level Wrestling Review, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, live. And inspired by Stevie Richards and his new Patreon, or just because it was on the spur of the moment and Ray put me on the spot, we actually looked at a moment and broke down a clip where some guy got suplexed almost onto his head outside the ring. So we did a little bit of we did a little bit of advertising for Stevie Richards on that one, and what you can expect from him in a much more concise and clean and technological fashion from him. So if you guys are interested in match breakdowns and those things, check that out. Stevie Richards, search it on Patreon and he'll pop up.
And he's also got a new YouTube channel, I believe, too, because he was a little worried about showing, in the breakdown if they're going to strike his channel. So make sure you check out all Stevie's YouTube and Patreon channels for the new breakdown masterclass education.
Seems to be good. Seems to be good so far. We've got the videos for breaking down Zoe Stark's Z360. We've got the CM Punk Go to Sleep from the debut Collision. A couple other things as a sample to sort of wet your whistle for the full deal, which is a great deal. It's a steal at twice the price, but check it out over there. That's what I would suggest.
Absolutely, man. All the wrestling content you can handle from the pros, where the pros are the pros. Absolutely. No Mark Sheep bullshit here. Just the real breakdown, and the conspiracy and the saga continues. Hameen, the vet, the Monday Locker Room, channelattitude.com.
And if any of you refute that, I dare you to come out here and do something about it.
Kiss